So in terms of realities that we face when entering the workforce, I say we because I still consider myself a graduate because I finished about 4 years ago. It tends to be more cutthroat than we can imagine as a student. And especially in Europe where things are very dense in terms of both living space and also the workforce. The marketplace is changing rapidly and people don't like change. And so I think it's easy as a graduate, or that's how it was for me, to enter the workforce thinking, perhaps a little egotistically, that you've spent all these years studying and you're full of knowledge and you want to share it and you want to do. But it's very easy to lose sight of the fact that you're entering a system that already exists, that has been existing for a very long time, and you're very new there. And so it's important, or that's what I tried to do at least, and I did it in Germany and France, so it was perhaps a little bit more complex. Observe as much as possible and ask as many questions, because the reality is that while for me a professional relationship is like any other, it's give or take. Give and take, excuse me, not give or take. And so you're giving what you've learnt, but you also have to understand what they want to take from you. And so the reality for me meant looking at a situation and figuring out where my strengths would fit in, not necessarily barreling through with what I thought they needed from me. That being said, I think the reality, especially for generations Y and Z, being for the most part digital natives, is that companies are being forced more and more to integrate this concept of digitalisation not only into the products that they offer, but how internally they function. And so, for instance, in Europe, a trend that I've come across recently is small startup consulting firms that are using the youth, so generations Y and Z, and their zeal and their ability to look at a situation and sort of pick up exactly what's missing, and use that strength and that quickness to solve their internal processes and update them so that they can be more agile and less committed to the hierarchies and perhaps political, internal office politics that already exist, because they need to change. And so I think it's something to keep in mind in terms of the reality in which you are entering as a graduate, but also to remember that you have an opportunity being a digital native and knowing, however, how to communicate that properly to the company that you're going to be joining.
So I guess for me, the reality of the modern workplace is that in most cases, the cycle time is quicker than your studies can prepare you for. And the second thing is the organizational complexity, whether it's a large company or a small company, is often much greater than people have any experience dealing with. And so if you combine fast cycle time with great organizational complexity, the reality is most of us don't have the tools we need as we exit our degree. So we need to rely on other things to be able to navigate our way through that.
Well, the reality of the workplace for me is that there is very little work-life balance in a PR agency and possibly in Singapore. When we go through school, you always hear that, it's 9 to 5. I have to go for a 9 to 5 job. But in Singapore, the reality is that 9 to 5 doesn't really exist. You do a minimum of 9 to 6 or 9 to 7. And it's really just showing that you're actually there versus, even I always tell my juniors, even if you have absolutely done for the day and you've completed everything, but if your manager is still sitting in the office, you shouldn't be leaving before her. And that's kind of how it works in Singapore, and I think in Asia, that kind of respect that you show your manager that you're there to assist the person, even if you're totally done with your job, but you can always volunteer and be like, hey, is there something I can help you with? I'm totally done for the day, but I'm happy to stay and help you out if you need help with something. That's one thing. And the other reality of the workplace, I feel, is that you really need to always be professional as long as you're in a workplace, even if you get really comfortable in a job and you feel like you know everyone, and if it's a small company, you still need to speak to everyone with a level of respect, and they're not really your friends while they're in the office. They're all still your colleagues. So you need to have a really professional demeanor. One of my really pet peeves is that when people walk around the office without their shoes, I feel like it's still an office. You still have to put on your shoes when you're going to the photocopier. So it's little things like these that people actually really pick up on when you're at a more senior level. And so it's good to really start from your very first job to know how to behave in the office. Well, the reality for working in PR, particularly in an agency role, is that you're bound to switch jobs really often, especially when you're on a junior level. I would say the average lifespan for a job in PR agencies in Singapore is about a year. And after a year, you would basically hop to a different agency to learn a different skill set or to learn more about a different industry. And that's how you really grow your skills and your knowledge in PR.